Okay, what you are looking at is the South Hills Junction. The T train here in Pittsburgh. Now, Pittsburgh is unique in that it is one of the cities that had no pause between the trolleys that used to run in the city and what came next, the next generation, the light rail sort of transportation. Okay, along the lines here. Pittsburgh is one of just a few that had no difference or no separation in time between the two, which leaves Pittsburgh, and the thing about Pittsburgh is the tracks are very much like the trolley tracks of old. They're from what I understand, they're wider. There's a wider gauge to them, okay, which were very trolley-like, if you will, if not the actual trolley tracks themselves, okay. The cities like Phoenix and others that had a departure from the trolley to the light rail have all thinner gauges of tracks. Okay. The great thing about transitioning from trolley right to rail, light rail if you will, at the time, is that it saves money and it saves expenses. Okay. Pittsburgh went right from trolley to rail using trolley tracks, trolley lines. Pittsburgh's light rail system here runs north to south from the North Shore, which they have just completed, by the way. It was a year or two ago that they truly got a subway and went from downtown over to the North Shore, where you have the you have the football stadium, you have Heinz Field, you have PNC Park, you have the Warhol Museum. Okay, so that was a number of years in the making, much like this light rail system here in Pittsburgh was. It was a few years in the making. Originally conceived in the 50s. It really did not get completed until the 80s, okay, about the early 80s, mid 80s, when everything came online and the Pittsburgh Light Rail, or as they knew it then, the T, was finished and completed. From downtown to the south side. Okay, that was the destination then. Everything ran from the hills of the south side, or the South Hills, into the city and stopped at the city by the mid-80s, the late 1980s. Okay, now on the train and headed into the city. Like I said, the light rail here runs north to south, North Shore to the South Hills. It hasn't branched out or kind of spidered like other cities. It's just kind of north-south. And the big thing recently was getting the North Shore, the T to the North Shore, which was just done a year or so ago. So this will now head into Station Square, and I tell you, it's not the Fort Pitt Tunnel, you know, coming out of the city into the Fort Pitt Tunnel, which everybody seems to remark about when they first visit the city. But it ain't half bad for somebody who's doesn't have a car and doesn't want to invest in the money to get an Uber ride through the Fort Pitt tunnels here in Pittsburgh. Now we come into Station Square. Pittsburgh.
Station Square.
Red line, North Shore.
It's funny, you know, coming into Boulder, Colorado, I was wondering why everybody was sitting on one side of the bus. I was like, wow, we got a big empty bus here, and everybody was sitting on like one side of the bus, and it's like, I couldn't figure out why everybody was located on one side. It's like, what am I missing? It's good to be a local, or at least know one, instead of learning through all this. There's Pittsburgh. And you see on your left there the reason for the light rail as well as the trolley. Because there is no way on that hill there to get to the city in any kind of expeditious fashion. You have inclines and things like that, but there's no direct route. Thus became the trolley system and eventually the Pittsburgh T.